Hi, and welcome back. In this lecture, we'll be discussing Key Insights 7 Data Security and Customer Privacy. Well, before we move on and start to discuss about data security and customer privacy, let's explore the different types of data. So, mainly, there are four different types of data, starting with zero party data, first party data, second party data, and third party data. Well, before we move on to zero party data, let's first explore what first party data is. First party data in very simple terms is all the data collected by businesses as a result of all the customer interactions. For example, things like what products you are looking for, what you are subscribed to, customer email, phone number, purchase history, support history, and things like loyalty program information. So first party data helps us to create a direct relationship with the customer, and it's often collected with the consent of customers. So it's basically individual data which is highly accurate and reliable. And first party data is not shared with any other party. Then let's move on to second party data. So second party data is data of another company's first party data which a company has permission to use. So there are contractual obligations and agreements, and we often use things like personally identifiable information or PII to create a common view. So second party data creates an indirect customer relationship, and it's often collected with consent as well, and it's not aggregated data, it's basically individual data which has very high accuracy and reliability. And second party data is basically someone's first party data which they have shared with another trusted partner with the consent of the customer. So data like website activity, social media profiles, customer feedback, and customer surveys. Then we have third-party data. So third-party data is basically data which has been aggregated about people from a number of different sources and a variety of methods like cookies. So in computing, cookies are small data files which store things like browsing history, allowing websites to store small information on your computing device like a smartphone, tablet, or even a laptop. So if you look at third-party data, there's no direct relationship. The relationship with the customer is always indirect, and it's unknown if it's collected with the consent of the customer because that depends on the data provider. And now with strong international laws on data protection and regulation, so strong data protection laws like the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or what we call GDPR. So when you browse a website, you might have seen a pop-up or a message coming on the bottom saying we collect cookies and just to accept it or reject it. So those are collecting small data about your browsing behavior and history. So third-party data is always aggregated data, and it's often known for its low accuracy and reliability, and it's shared with many other companies as well. For example, your websites visited, survey responses, any other demographical data like your location, and other similar data. So now that we have discussed first party data, second party data, and third party data, what is zero party data? Well, zero party data is data which a consumer consciously and freely shares with a business. So things like contact preferences, personalizations, purchase intentions, personal context, basically how the individual wants the brand to recognize themselves. So what are a few trends and insights that we're seeing with data security and consumer privacy? So we're seeing the emergence of zero and first party data as prominent data collection models rather than relying on third party and second party data. So advertisers are starting to understand the importance of zero party data, which puts the control of data back into the consumer's hands because consumers have to consent and have to agree to share the data with the provider or the brand. And also we're seeing that consumers are demanding more control of data. So consumers are choosing companies which offer transparency and honesty about what customer data they're collecting, how it's processed, stored, disseminated, analyzed, and if it's shared with any other partners or any other third party. So you might have come across websites which ask for your consent on cookies, and oftentimes the terms and conditions and what they are planning to do with the data is very long because most of us don't read the entire thing, we just blindly agree and let the company collect the data. But also businesses are trying to simplify the legal framework and the jargon in order that the common person can understand as to what data is being collected, the intention of collecting such data, how it's stored, processed, analyzed, and shared. And also we're going to see a cookieless future because basically as zero party and first party data become the focus, traditional third party cookie based advertising will no longer be relevant or have to be transformed. Then we have strong data protection regulations. So global, regional, and countrywide data privacy laws and regulations will get stronger to protect the right to data, including submitting requests for information. So customers will be able to request companies to get their data back and also to understand what data is being collected about them. They can also request companies to delete their data, which they have been collecting for the past several years. Then we're also seeing this trend of saying goodbye to data graveyards. So data graveyards are basically massive amounts of data which has been collected but which have not been used. which has not been used for anything and it's just being stored on servers. So these are basically like treasure troves for cyber criminals, because if they can get access to this data, they can do a lot of damage to the company and also to the customers involved. Then also we have things like malware, so cybersecurity risks like viruses, worms, trojans, bot, ransomware and spyware, and also things like adware are becoming very common, and businesses have started to realize the importance of addressing cybersecurity challenges and delivering a great and delightful customer experience whilst protecting the privacy and ensuring data security of all their business data and also customers' data. And finally, we are seeing this trend of businesses creating new data related roles within the business. So businesses will create new data roles like Data Protection Officer or DPO, Chief Data Officer or CDO, Chief Information Security Officer or CISO, and other similar roles to ensure data compliance and all the other legal and cybersecurity frameworks are met, implemented, and are being practiced within all business operations. Well, that's about it for Key Insight 7, Data Security and Customer Privacy. I'll see you on another lecture.